Now, that was the season, you won it in 2002, 2003, and that was
Did we?
year, yeah, and that
Right,
was the
so
year,
it's the year after Mick then, yeah.
And it was the year you changed the name to Carlton Town.
That's right, that was a big thing from Mick.
How did that come about then?
Yeah, so Mick's born and bred in Carlton.
Yeah.
And that was his one proviso, that the club changed from Sneinton to Carlton, which I was happy with because it's not a bad name, Carlton Town, if I'm honest with you.
No.
And Bill was more than happy with it. And so we went with it. I didn't realise it was so quick that we won that league. It must have been the season Mick had come in then.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
the year
2002,
after,
2003. Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
yeah. So Big Null was banging him in. Dicko was still performing. I think even our Johnny was appearing sometimes when he wanted the hairdressers, you know. And yeah, we had a great season. I played a number of games, and yeah, we went up. And but with the Northern Counties, this was the one where you had to have they said you had to have a bar next to the pitch.
Okay.
We needed new dressing rooms. At that stage, correct me if I'm wrong, we didn't knock this old building down. We put the new dressing rooms, which is now the Academy Suite, over there.
Okay.
And the bar.
All of that's before my time. That was all there when I started.
Yeah, well, so around about 2002-03, when we got together in Northern Counties,
yeah,
me and Mick went to Pursuda at Sheffield, a company called Pursuda,
yeah,
and bought the buildings.
Put them up.
We got some guys to put the foundations in, and we got them up. That gave us the grading to get into Northern Counties.
Yeah,
that was before this building had gone up.
Yeah,
because so this old building was still stood here this side, and I think the first season in the Northern Counties we finished 9th.
Okay.
And then the second season, we lost by 2 points to Garforth. We finished runners up, and only one was going up.
Yeah.
And we had a game down here where Simon Clifford, who people will know, he ran the Brazilian soccer schools. He was headlining. Yes. You know, he was a big hitter in them days, and very controversial character, although he's a very dear friend of mine now. At the time, they're very controversial. And they come down here to derail us, basically. They come straight off the bus, about 20-3, with a kit on, straight onto the pitch. Four lads with horns straight behind the dugout, banging the horns right through the game, straight in my ear hole. So I couldn't say a word to the players, I couldn't hear them. They beat us 1-0. And they went up, fair play to him. He'd also put a bid in for Big Null in about March to...
cause a bit of distress.
Yeah. And bear in mind, you know, in this time, I've got so many great people around there, you know. And that's what really worries me about doing something like this. You forget people, but I can't name them all.
Yeah.
But what I will say as well, by this stage, Darryl Claypole, Stuart Scott, Ian Spencer, Reese had come in, and we formed the academy.
Yeah. And
we bought players through that via Darryl, Stuart, and all them. And you're talking players like Dean Gent, Grant Brindley, Drew Hatton.
Chapo come through that? Or
Chapo discovered on a Sunday morning smoking a fag. And these were players, Martin Ball.
Ball, of course.
You know, and they were in my first team at Anthony Howes.
Yes, yeah.
They were in my first team at 18. So you've got to credit, you know, it wasn't loads of people. I've always surrounded myself with good people.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a secret. People worry about having too many people around them. More the merrier for me. And we, that academy won every trophy going at their level academy. They come into the first team. It was a vibrant club then, you know, and it was a really young side, a really good side. And then, obviously, the following season, we've missed it by 1 point. Well, what do you do? So we ran away with it the following season.
Won the league. Last league title for Carlton Town.
Was it really?
Well, it is, 05-06.
Yeah.
On the Northern Counties one.
I think it was by a number of points as well. I think we'd won it really early. And, of course, then it was Northern Counties Prem.
Northern Counties Prem. So... It was by then. It was step 5 because of the Conference North and South had been formed in 2004. But still, it's a massive. it's a massive rise in the standard of football in 3, 4, 5
It's
years.
incredible. And the Northern Prep, that was a real beast of a league. You had Sutton in there. I think Gedling had got in there. And Garforth were flying high.
Yeah, Retford in there, Sheffield
Sheffield. And bear in mind, it was our first season.
Yeah.
I think probably Dower Thomas's first games for us after Christmas. He joined us. Chapo, Biggs and Dowell. Chapo, I was at Watermeadow swimming with the kids, and Johnny Chamberlain, football legend from Hucknall, says, Tom, you've got to get a look at this lad Chapo. Sunday morning for Limber. So I toddled along. Thought, well, I can't see him. And then there was this lad on the touchline just before kick-off with a fag. And thought, oh my God, that's in the number 9. And he went on, kicked off, scored 3, went off at half time, had a couple of fags, gone back on, then had a pint straight after. And I suppose I arranged to meet him on the Tuesday, he didn't turn up. And then the Thursday, then the Saturday, and I persevered and I finally got him in. What a lad, top lad, and that strike force, if you think about it. And then you got Dean Gent, Borley, Grant. I'm doing everybody injustice because I can't remember. Jeppo, look at Dave Jeppo, his dad physioed for us. I bet he's made 700 appearances for the club.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking a couple of years later now, and you got Tris Whitman up there as well.
Alongside, yeah, I thought the other day, I was actually looking the other day, there's about 14 players who's played under me as manager now, and it's great.
Yeah.
I just hope all of them do well. But yeah, so
Northern Counties Prem, first season.
Went up, yeah.
Went up again.
Yeah. And again, but this is where karma comes in because...
Well, tell these people about the last...
So, obviously, I mentioned Simon Clifford. Love you, Simon, by the way. There's no issues now. He has bonded with me over these last few years. So I've got, it was all in the game. And, of course, it's had to be into Garforth last game of the season away. And we're on the bus and we get to Garforth and there's about 400 kids trying to block us coming in the car park with Garforth kits on. All the usual antics and,
crowd of over 500,
Crowd of over 500, which in them days was a lot, and I think was it 3-1? You
won 2-1. Dean Gent scored in the 94th minute, according to the official history.
Yeah, now...
Is that accurate?
I think
it's definitely 2-1.
I think we only had to draw anyway.
Yeah.
But that was the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that I'd lost my dad about 5 days before.
Okay.
I went and seen him on the way back, because I felt it was karma. And
must have been some celebrations after.
That night, but
bittersweet.
So by this time, Stonner was at the club. Gary Stones.
Yes.
So there's Gary Stones, Dave, Soggy, and we had a right team around us. Jeppo, the physio, and we all went into Nottingham, and it was carnage, to be honest with you. Pam, who was secretary, then Jeppo's wife, reported a few incidents to the chairman, but he just ignored them. And we just had a fantastic night, obviously. Great days, fantastic.
So, Northern Premier League, step 4, the following season. Was there any trepidation in the summer? You basically double promotion. You've gone from step 6 to step 4 in successive seasons.
Yeah.
Into presumably for you a completely unknown league.
Unibond
League, as it was.
So that again, that just opened up. So it was that was Unibond 1, Unibond Prem, and you was on the serious stuff then. Close to professional. Massive clubs, and obviously your first thought is we need to stay in it. And we went up with the same lads. We kept using the youngsters. They kept getting better. All them that had come through the academy as well, through Dowell and Stewart and them. And I think we finished.
I think it's 8th. It's in the history on the picture.
Yeah, you're pinning my memories down here, aren't you? It's
I know it was in top half. It's 8th, 9th, or 10th we finished.
And then of course second year was just like playoffs.
Well, the second year's the first year I came.
Was it?
And the first game I came to was down here in November 2008, and we beat Leek Town at home. Tommy, you're going to tell the camera the score, aren't you now? Brilliant game.
No.
We beat them 6-2.
Did we? That
Dan
was side league.
Daniel Fletcher scored a goal.
Dan Fletcher?
Dan Fletcher
Wow,
scored a goal.
that's a really...
That's how rare. I didn't know how rare it was that.
Yeah, I suppose Chapo were there then, Big Nung, weren't he? And
I don't remember Phil Bignall, but I do remember Chapo, of course, and Darryl Thomas, and Tris Whitman, and Borley was playing then, Dean Gent.
Yeah. Basically, where do we go? And it was playoffs. It was crazy, you know, and...
we went up to Stocksbridge Park Steels on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
2-0 down at half time.
Yeah, we were a bit unlucky with that because Grant was injured, one or two others. I don't think we was actually ready, if I'm honest with you. I didn't go into it's the first time I got into something thinking this is going to be tough. You know, I always back myself and the players. I know about Vardy coming through.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy playing for him. And he was unstoppable, mate. He was the difference between the two sides, Jamie Vardy, that night.
I mean, we got it back to 2-2.
We did. We had a rollicking, the usual rollicking at half time, and but then he got that free kick into
edge of the box.
You know, we got back to 2-2, and I thought, here we go. Did Chapo score that night?
Chapo and Genty is my memory.
You've got some great memories.
Well, it's my first season. I was still learning players.
And you had Steve and another mate with you, didn't you?
Steve and Tim.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So yeah, I mean, that was probably the time when you look back now. Was the start of me thinking I'm going to leave for the simple reason the following season, pre-season, the lads got picked off.
Yes.
I says to Mick, look, this Retford's coming in for everybody.
Yeah.
And look, you get it. We've gone right through the leagues and we've just lost out in the playoffs and the lads are 21, 22.
Yeah.
And more money. And I says to Mick, can we do anything? He says, I can't, Tom. He says, and that was fair enough. So I did the following season. I always had a mantra then. I always said to Mick, if ever finish worse than the season before, I'm off.
Yeah.
And we finished 8th, was it?
The following year, we finished 9th.
9th. And one or two clubs were knocking on the door as well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you, there was. And but that was my 14th year. And I thought, where can I take us? We've done the playoffs.
Yeah.
I want to do better. And it was really tough, you know, because I loved the club. Mick, Shouts, Chuck was here by then. Jep, you know, it was heart-wrenching, but...
Did you want to test yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was 44.
Yeah.
I'd done 14 years.
Yeah.
You know, Uncle Town was always one of them that was in the background. My wife's family, all from Ucknall. By this stage, Gary Stones was my assistant.
Yes, he was, yeah.
You know, full assistant because David left. And it was sort of, that offer come up, and there were one or two others as well. And, you know, if I'm honest, the other two were better suited in the fact that there was no issues. Ucknall was one of them where you've got to go in and try and sort it out.
They'd been at step 2, but by the time you went there, they were coming down.
They were step 3 and just got relegated, but got a reprieve.
Yeah.
And I just fancied the
challenge.
The biggest club in Nottingham.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
You know, you can't lie. You know,
no, big ground, big attendances.
I think there was 760 for my first game. You know, and yeah, look, what I didn't know was that it was heavily in debt. I wasn't told how bad it was. I knew it was not good, and I thought it was one of them. You know, when you've done so well, you think you're untouchable, don't you? You think you can go and change the world. And when you're younger as well, you think, well, maybe it's my job to go in and help them, raise money, get them back to being the biggest club in Nottingham. And it just didn't work out. It was too far gone. And I have to say, the admiration I've got for Bob Scotney and Dawn Scotney, Andy Graves, all them people that took over when they went down, was it to step 7?
Yeah.
They paid every bill back. They never went AFC Ucknall, you know. Yeah. They never went, I've gone bankrupt.
Yeah, we'll start again.
They carried on. Everybody must give them admiration because they've kept the name Ucknall Town. But the second, we went down. Second season, we was second. I think we'd beat Carlton.
You had, yeah, 3-2.
And
yeah, remember.
And then the balloon went up. There was a certain person there I didn't get on with. And in them days, I want the best at mediation. You know, if I didn't get on with you, I didn't get on.
In them days, Tom.
We were never going to get on.
No.
And
you were favourites to go back up in that division.
yeah, we was. And we got a really, and that was probably the tragic thing of it, that I got a team together with Gary. Mark had come in as goalkeeping coach. So this is the first time Mark Harvey appears with me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd been helping Mark previously. Him and Glyn Stacey running Long Eaton, and I was sending plays, helping them out. So Mark had finished there, and he come in as goalkeeping coach. And as I say, we got a super side. I really enjoyed being at the club, other than the behind the scenes things that I couldn't turn me back on. And it ended up in a not great situation. Regrets, I have no regrets. You know, everything I've done has made me better and stronger. Probably if you said, what shouldn't I have done? I'm in Lanzarote at the time. Get told that I ain't got the job at Hucknall. By text or something, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, Stonner's going ballistic. You know, Stonner was a really loyal lad. Great, again, one of my best friends.
Yeah, he's great.
It really devastated him because he's up no bloke.
Yeah.
But too long to go into. But all the time, John Junicki at Stanford was badgering me to go and manage him. I kept saying, John, no, and a lovely man to boot.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, I'm going to be waiting for you when you land. So I says to Stonner, look, we'll just go and listen to what he's got to say. And he took us to Stanford and we listened. And I should have said no. For the simple reason, I should have refreshed my brain. I wasn't in the right frame of mind. It was too far. I'm not good with travel, as you know.
No, and it's a good hour and a half.
From Newthorpe, where I live. And we finished 7th, which was okay. John Junicki was a lovely man. Again, met some nice people. No regrets other than I should have had that rest.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the right club maybe at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think it's that thing, you know, when you're on the bike, don't go off because you might not get another job. Yeah. And even with what I'd achieved, I was still, will I get another job? Yeah. You know, and this is what I tell young managers, if you had a good club, don't ruin it. Don't go giving it all that, you know, because there might not be anything around the corner. And so that was probably part of it, that I wanted to stay in the game. And then again, we got to the end of the season. John Junicki was impressed, offered us another year. But this time it was with Mark as my assistant. Okay. Because Gary had retired. He says, I'm done. Yeah. We had a send-off at Stanford for Gary. And I got a phone call 2 days later to say they'd appointed Graham Drury.
Oh, okay.
And John Junicki walked out. I went, okay, right.
There we go.
Here we go. That's been some year. You know, that has been some 8 to 9 months. Yeah. You know, Tina, what's up? You know, I've done here, you know, they've appointed another manager while you're making the breakfast sort of thing. And that's how it was, really. And then I said, that's it. I'm having a rest.